After 10 years of embracing an eco-minimalist mindset, I've learned to live more sustainably. And in this video, I will share 50 things I no longer buy, and hopefully it will inspire you to scale back too. My name is Jessie Frahm and I'm a sustainability consultant coach. I post weekly videos teaching you how to grow as a sustainability professional. I have also added timestamps in the comments below because I appreciate that your time is valuable. Okay, let's get to it. I do want to say that this is just things that I do. I am by no means perfect. I still do lots of things I probably shouldn't be doing, and I'm trying to improve every single day. I am not judging anyone for whatever they're doing. I mean, heck no, you do you. But hey, I do think decluttering as a lifestyle and leaning in on minimalism is really good, not just for the planet, but it gives a lot of mind space too. This is going to be a fast-paced video, as 50 things is a lot to get through. So there will be links for more resources below if you fancy that. Without further ado,
I love that phrase.
The first thing I no longer buy is cheap clothing. I just hate the idea of a clearance rack. Not only does it give me anxiety of the mess that usually comes with it, but it also pushes people to buy things they don't actually need. Generally, when it comes to cheap clothing and clearance racks, if there is something, I will come prepared from home knowing that I need a white t-shirt, and then that's what I'm going for. And if I don't have a reason for something I need, I just don't go. It's simple as that. The next point is cheap fashion jewelry. It literally gives me the aches. You know, those packs of 6 earrings for $10, flimsy little things that breaks and goes to landfill after just a few wears. Just don't do it. Then we have tote bags. According to a study from 2018 from the Ministry of Environment and Food of Denmark, one organic cotton tote needs to be used every day for 54 years. That's half a lifetime, or 20,000 times to offset its overall impact of production. A major reason for this is that cotton production consumes a lot of water, and also the print on them are often PVC based, and therefore they become non-recyclable. Brands in general, they love these and they give branded giveaways, and I say I have a stash of at least 10 of these in our spare room, and that should last me more than a lifetime. So generally, when they get offered up, I say no, but I usually have one on me already. The next one is not so much a thing I don't buy, it's more a thing I don't do, and that is travel to meetings. Thank God for Zoom. Honestly, this saves so much of my time these days, especially as I am an online entrepreneur where I spent my time mentoring sustainability managers all over the world inside the Impact Accelerator. If you want to learn more about how to deliver sustainable change in your company, totally check this out. It's a fantastic community of people that are on a learning journey. So I left a link for you in the comments below. Next up is new clothing. Some years ago now, I had a full year of buying nothing new. The only rule of exception were underwear and socks, but I generally don't buy a lot of that, so it wasn't a massive problem. I had a whole year of this and I really leaned in on thrifting. I got to know the most fabulous vintage shops around London. So if you ever want me to show you some of the best vintage shops in London, let me know in the comments below, because I really know where they are. You can find anything. They're professional wear, and my sister had her wedding, so I ended up buying the most fabulous dress from one of our local vintage shops. What I will say is, by the end of the full year, I was absolutely out of white t-shirts, you know, the blank tank tops. So I did have to go out and stash up on that, which is unfortunate, but it's just really hard to find in good conditions. I guess that's something that people are wearing till the end. Now, I'm planning on doing this again from January as a New Year's resolutions, and I would love to do it with all of you guys. So keep following along and we can join each other on that journey from the new year. The next one is upgrading electronics. I have a whole philosophy around this. Firstly, buy recycled when you can. There are some amazing products out there that is absolutely worthwhile your money and your time. The only exception I will say, if you have to buy new, and me myself, I had to buy a new laptop recently. I do lots of editing work, as you can imagine, for the YouTube channel. I ended up buying the most expensive Mac, first of all, I've ever bought. And the reason were that I wanted to last for as long as humanly possible. The other one were completely dead, could not bring it to life. I was editing on my iPad, imagine the nightmare. So I have now bought a MacBook Pro with all the fancy stuff that you can ever imagine. And hopefully it will last for the rest of my life. It probably won't, but it should last a really long time. IKEA furniture is the next one on the list. My Scandi heart loves a bit of assembling, especially when things comes in a box and a few things are missing. IKEA. No, I do love assembling, but in general, I actually love a flea find. Going out and finding furniture that needs a bit of restoration. It comes with history and it gives that extra personal character, and you're actually using something that are already in the world. And I also think what is saving you from is when you go to IKEA, you are very prone to impulse buying. They are so good at showing you how you can use all of these amazing things, and all of a sudden you're building up a mental need for things you don't actually need. I also think another important point on this is buying additional furniture. We have this habit as we are going through life and we are acquiring wonderful things and people bring us presents, and instead of being selective and saying, I don't want this in my home, we end up buying new furniture to fit the stuff we had, and that just makes everything very stuffy. So generally, before I buy anything, I'll think about, are there anything I can get rid of so I don't actually need to buy. Another one of mine that I really will not buy anymore, and that is plastic plants. I love saving plants. I saw the brilliant Gitamaris video on her minimalist lifestyle, and I really loved her point on adopting seedlings, because the thing is, whenever we buy a new plant, and she's right, there's been so much effort and energy gone into making a big beautiful plant, where really if you got it from seed, we can just nurture it and take care of it, and it will likely take less energy to grow that plant. Next one is paper towels. My mom crochet all of my cloths from organic cotton, and to be fair, I have so many and they are just so good. So if you have the opportunity to get cloths from cotton, doesn't even have to be an amazing mom making them for you. You can even cut up old clothes and repurpose them into cloths, which works really, really well. Next one is travel sized anything. We have these small refill bottles from Forever Go, which my partner invested in. I would say we probably had something around already that we could use, but there we go. We have them, and they can be ordered really neatly whenever we go traveling. They are just big enough for filling in whatever we need for both of us: shampoo, hair conditioner, some moisturizer. So we put that in the bag and we are good to go, and that saves us from buying more plastic. Next one is my skincare products. Now, hear me out on this one, because that's actually interesting. I have awful skin, and it's just always been a thing, and I'm in my late 30s and I shouldn't be having awful skin, but I do. So I am a fan of a specific brand, which is really, really expensive. Here in the UK, we have a platform called Depop. I'm sure many places in the world, you will have a fashion platform where you can buy used products. And what I realized is this is not just good for fashion and reselling clothes, but you can actually find other items in there, and makeup and cream are some of the things that I've found that I can buy secondhand there. Very often it would be one of my favorite face scrubs. Somebody will have opened it, used a little part of it and realized it's not for them, and then I buy it and I save so much money on it, and I'll also save that from just going to waste. So I feel it's a win-win. The next thing I cannot live without is my leaf razor, and that means I'm no longer buying those flimsy plastic razors that goes straight to landfill. I have had this for 3 years, I think, and I haven't even bought new blades. It came with extra blades. They last for so long, and I'm definitely buying refills whenever I run out of them. So leaf razor, highly recommended. Next one is plastic Tupperware. Takeaway boxes is something that really grind me. We do buy takeaway, I admit that. We try to save the Tupperware boxes, but also they take up a lot of space. So going back to declutter is just one of those. But whenever they're in good condition, I save the Tupperware. I use that from takeaway rather than buying boxes, because that would just double up. So I never buy new expensive Tupperware. Next on the list are cheap shoes. Well, first of all, I'm a Dr. Martens fan. I think that suits my style. They are timeless. They are durable. I think I've only thrown away one pair of Dr. Martens in my life. They've actually worked with a reputable consultancy and began to decarbonize their entire value chain. A really exciting journey. Do let me know in the comments if I should create a video about Dr. Martens and how they are seeking to create more sustainable footwear products. Number 16 is toys for kids. Now, I don't have kids. That's a whole spiel about a decision. However, I love my sister's kids and I love to spoil them rotten on so many levels. But it really gets to me when they are going into a toy store and they are buying whatever plastic crap that they're spending time with for about 15 minutes. It goes to the back of their room that are already stuffed with toys, and eventually that will all go to landfill. So whenever I give them something, I try to be really mindful about what I give them. So it can be wooden toys, or it can be toys that I've been given from someone else, just so it's going around from child to child. I think that's a fantastic way of doing it. I can actually recommend that in our building, I live in a department block, downstairs we have this recycling station and everybody's so into it. So not that long ago I got a stack of children's books and I have taken a load of them, and that's going to be the next present for my little niece when I'm going home to see them this weekend. Next on the list is fabric softeners. That's just a no-no. It is chemicals that are not needed. Then we have dishwasher tablets and washing machine tablets. I use the brand Small because in that way I'm avoiding any plastic. It's also packaged in a really smart way, so when it comes to actually transporting it, it takes up as little space as physically possible. Next up is strange kitchen gadgets. Do you remember growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s and your mom would have this egg cutter and avocado slicer, and we also had things to squeeze the lemons with? Yep, don't have it, don't need it. Next on the list is perfume. Any fragrance is chemicals in my point of view. I do use a natural deodorant in a paper packaging container. I can't remember what it's called, but I just don't believe in spraying fumes anywhere. I just don't think it's healthy, and sometimes it even gives a headache, and it's certainly just another product that we don't need that will end up going to landfill, so I don't buy it. Next on the list is buying more food than we need. So I am a real big believer in meal planning where possible, and just always knowing what's in the fridge, which means clear out the fridge so you know what's in it, so you can actually use up what you have. I eat a lot of vegetarian food, and one of my favorite things to eat is tofu. And speaking about tofu and soy, I have made a video about the entire problem around soy production. So if you're interested in watching it, you should check it out here. Next on the list is seasonal decor. Can we just take a moment to not appreciate glitter glatter that are hanging anywhere, dingling dangling with annoying sounds? I love Christmas. I love the holidays. I love spending time with friends and families. And I do have a few items that I brought from childhood, but generally I am just not a fan of buying any plastic hoo-ha that you need for Christmas or Halloween or any other Easter season, because the world tell you that you need it, because truth is you don't. Next on the list is subscription boxes of any kind. So these are convenient for about a second. That's around till they hit the front door, and then you open it up and you can use about 3 things in it. The rest of it you will think about using, so that could be fruit and vegetables, and it froze the entire week, and what am I doing with this odd sized fruit I've never met before, don't know what to do with it, don't want it. Makeup boxes, even worse. Sure, there might be a cream, there might be a mascara on the rare occasion, but 50% of what's in that box, never use it, so don't buy it. Then we have greeting cards next on the list. This is a funny one. Okay, so I'm originally from Denmark. Greeting cards, not a big deal. We don't really do that. Moved to the UK, birthday come, a rack of cards that goes in the bin, so I don't buy them. Then we have plastic dog toys. Okay, we could talk about, is a dog sustainable? It's probably not, but I love him and I don't have kids, so that's my excuse. But what I don't do is to buy those awful plastic wee toys. I don't buy them. I also don't buy the teddy bears because, to be frank, Bobby, he puts love into just shredding into pieces in 2 seconds. Instead, I buy organic toys that are bought online. They're in this suede leathery materials. I think the last one he's had for at least a year, and that does it for me. That's leading into the next one, which is clothing for my dog. Like, what the F? Who puts clothes on their dog? Like, I just don't do it. Then we have bottled water. I completely understand that there are places around the world where running water is not coming out of the tap. But since I am in a lucky part of the world where water is coming out of the tap, I am a big believer in refilling one sustainable bottle that I can bring with me anywhere, and that saves me from buying expensive bottled water and having to throw out expensive bottled water bottles. Let's make that the next point then, because that brings me to TikTok trends and the Stanley Cup. That's another trend I really don't like. They are popularizing brands based on lifestyle, and I think wearing that cup is more a lifestyle than actually, oh, I need that cup. So I try to generally not buy branded items just because TikTok tells me to. And I know that the Stanley Cup was originally a really good cup, but you see these TikToks where people are now having 50 cups and it's not needed, so I just don't buy into it. Sound like a grumpy old lady, don't I? Okay, a car. We actually have a car parking spot. However, we don't have a car. And this was a very deliberate choice some years ago. My partner got this awesome opportunity to get a car through work. But as we live in the middle of London, transportation links are amazing. And we're not using public transportation. We're actually cycling in most places. So a car, we've just decided that we're getting more value out of renting out the car parking space and say no thank you to having a car. Next one is plastic dishwasher brush. I love my bamboo one. It's lasted me forever. And whenever it breaks, I just buy a new head and pop that on and I am good to go. Then we have disposable anything. Disposable cutlery really gets me. And I try to bring out my own coffee cup as well. And in many cases, I even fill it beforehand to avoid having to spend an arm and a leg and sell my mom to get a coffee. I do treat myself occasionally, but in most cases, I just bring out a coffee. Next point is swapping unsustainable items to sustainable items as an excuse for buying new things. Sure, I still to date have things in my home which is probably not the most sustainable, electric, whatever gadget, a blender, but things that works well, I just keep them around for as long as possible, and therefore I don't buy anything sustainable if I already have it in an unsustainable version. But then when it breaks, I'll probably buy the sustainable one. Then we have elastic and rubber bands. I generally use these all the time, but when you buy cut-off plants, which is something I'm trying to not buy too much of either, because that has a whole range of problems. It has usually an elastic band on it, so what I do is I just keep them, and yeah, good to go then. Next point is supporting local art. I live in East London and we have so many phenomenal local artists. That means that I don't have to buy fabricated, ugly looking IKEA art, but instead I manage to support local people and I get something that's really unique. Next up is fruit or egg in plastic containers. I have had this argument with people online, but I am generally offended when I go to the supermarket and I see a peeled egg which has perfectly packaging in natural packaging in the shelf, and then they have peeled it and put it in a plastic container. Same goes with all sorts of fruit like oranges that they will put into a container so that you can just wrap off the plastic and eat it. How about just peeling that orange? I have had arguments with people that talk about how about the ones that can't peel an egg or are really weak and whatever, and I get it, but my philosophy is, as society, we just can't always cater for the lowest denominator. However, we should try to find solutions in society and innovate in ways that are not harming the planet, but are still helping people that need it in the most sustainable way. Point number 36 is poached eggs back. Did you know you can get this? Yeah, true, you can. And how silly is it? You just take water, a little bit of vinegar, stir it up, and poached eggs, good to go. You don't need to buy a plastic bag to make a perfectly shaped poached egg. So that's a big no-no. Next thing I don't have is business card. I am really active on LinkedIn. Whenever I go networking, I will bring out my phone and I will add people on LinkedIn. And I'll say, if you're a fan of this content and want to know more about me and what I do, go and hit me up on LinkedIn, follow me, and we'll be friended there too. Next point is fancy dress. I love a good dress up and some biodegradable glitter. However, buying plastic fancy dress that just goes in the bin, I don't buy it. Next point is plastic glitter. Now, I love a dress up. I already mentioned this, but plastic glitter is just something that's a big no-no. You can get biodegradable glitter. I don't think it's as pretty, if that matters, but I will wear the biodegradable glitter. It's a happy medium for me, and also one tiny little jar bought on Etsy will last you for so long. It's insane. That leads me to Hindu items. I'm in an age where I go to a lot of Hindus baby showers in the same category of knick-knack that no one needs. Next one is skims, or as I call them, the scams. This is fast fashion that has been pushed by Kim Kardashian, who also produced this nipple bra to always look cold. Like, what? The materials are based on fossil fuels and produced by people in supply chains that are not being paid fair wages. So, nope, I don't buy the scams. Candles. I love a candle, but most of them are burning paraffin, which has been derived from fossil fuels. And being exposed to scented perfumes, which I mentioned before, are not healthy, and I don't like it. It is chemicals that are just unnecessary. And then we have a whole other thing with electric candles. I actually have a couple of these, but there is a problem with the batteries that you will need to put into them to have them glowing up. So therefore, it's definitely something that I'm very aware about minimizing. I only use them for those special occasions. You could talk about soy or beeswax. Is that better? It might be better, but again, it is a consumer product, so everything comes with a do I really need this? Is this really important evaluation before I buy it? Next point is a drying machine. I'm just hanging my clothes outside. It saves energy, and even though I live in the middle of London, it also feels like the clothes just are fresher and is definitely not wearing out my clothes as fast as if I was tumble drying it. Sending out physical letters when you can just send an email. Okay, this is really just a prompt for you to like and subscribe if you like this video, but maybe also consider joining my newsletter where I share more insights about how you can be sustainable. I promise you to save the paper and ink and transportation. I have left a link for you in the comments below. Plastic wrapped sandwiches. Now, this is another one. I call it the Pret culture. If you don't know what Pret is, it is a sandwich chain in the UK. And whenever people go into work, they have their lunch break. Many of them will go down to Pret and grab a sandwich, grab a drink, grab a snack, maybe another snack. And at the end of the half an hour lunch, you are left with a mountain of plastic. And I generally just don't like it. So I try to either avoid places where they're wrapping everything or bring my own lunch if I am having an office day for a client. I think it was Sibisley, another amazing creator here on YouTube, who talked about the mindset of creating over consuming. And I think this is such a great example of this exact thing where bringing lunch is creating a lunch rather than just consuming what's next to you. And I think having that foresight and thinking about what you need in life, and then you can prepare and create rather than consume. So a concept that can be applied to many parts of your life, if you will. Buying vegetables out of seasons. I think we've all heard about the famous strawberries in January. They don't exist unless they were transported from far, far away. So I just buy whatever is on season. Next one is swapped electricity provider. I bet you didn't see that one coming, but your entire home and everything you do is powered by an energy provider. And these days you can be very selective around who that is. So when we realized we didn't have the most efficient provider, and they certainly weren't green, we just changed. And I think this has been one of the best decisions we've done in the past few years. Next one on the list is coffee pots. I batch brew, girl gotta work, and that takes coffee. And I just love coffee, and I bring it out, and we already talked about the takeaway mug that I bring with me. So full stop, I need coffee. But instead of buying the pots, I will batch brew a big amount. I actually did a video about coffee and sustainability. That's how much I love coffee. You can find it here or in the comments below. So continue on watching, and I will see you there.